Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here today for our third MWork member meeting of 2020. Let me begin by stating the obvious, really extraordinary period that we're all managing through, and on behalf of the MWork team, hope all of our members, supporters, and partners out there are safe and doing well and managing through this really extraordinary time. And thank you very much for taking a few minutes and joining with us here this morning. So today we're very excited, and really I think the tone of today's session is really one of celebration. Even though we've been managing through this challenging time, the MWork team, working closely with many of our partners who you're gonna get a chance to meet here today. And let me say at the outset, I want to thank all of our partners for the tremendous cooperation and leadership and support that we've received as we've developed this really first for MWork innovative training program to help meet our members' needs. So thank you at the outset, and looking forward to your participation here today. I want to just bring everybody back to the core mission, remind folks that MWork's mission is really one of economic development. Our focus is really how do we help support economic development for the energy, power, and control sector in the state of Wisconsin. As we all know, it is really one of the most important sectors for the state, employing about 100,000 employees throughout the state, with 900 companies, generating about $40 billion a year in annual revenue, really a significant driver. And as the world gets increasingly complicated, our mission is really to use three significant strategic initiatives to help support economic development. The focus of today is really on the talent and the training side, and that will be the primary focus. But I'd like to kick the meeting off and just talk a little bit about some of the significant developments in some of the other areas. Next slide, please. The first is a technology innovation update. The focus really here is how do we accelerate the great ideas coming out of our labs and our universities, and accelerate that, commercialize that technology to develop the next generation of products and services in the energy, power, and control space. MWork was founded on this mission, really supporting research and accelerating the deployment of technology. And we're very pleased to be making significant progress on our new research program that starts with our members identifying the critical technology challenges and needs, working together with both our industrial members and our academic members, and really driving research as an economic development tool. And I want to hit on four key research updates here this morning. One is PowerTech Navy. We have submitted a concept paper to the U.S. Department of Navy around this concept of a PowerTech Navy Center. It really is designed to take advantage of the significant competitive advantages, both on the industrial side with the leadership of the energy, power, and control sector, but also the really strong and international leadership on the academic side with our partners UW-Madison, UW-Milwaukee, and Marquette University. We're very excited. We have had a number of conversations with the program office over the course of the last month. They have invited us to present another presentation that will occur within the next several weeks, to really lay out our vision, and importantly, to begin to identify specific areas to support for funding in the next year. So we're very excited about that. Extreme power conversion. I want to recognize our lead researchers here, Rob Kusner from UW-Milwaukee, but really all of our UW-Madison and Marquette folks for having managed this research project through the COVID challenges, which included significantly having the lab shut down for extended periods. I think they have done a tremendous job in managing through this and really driving value for the three members who are participating in that research project, DRS, Eaton, and LEM. The focus of that research is really developing and demonstrating new pathways for improvement in the efficiency and the use of wide band gap semiconductors. The challenges, the technology challenges are fairly significant in this area, and we're in close partnership with our industrial partners. Our academic partners are really driving that research project. We anticipate year one of that research project to be completed in the first quarter of next year. I'm really very excited about the potential. On systems intelligence, we are working with a couple of our members in really developing. This is probably a year behind our extreme power conversion research project, but we do anticipate a 2-year research project starting here early in 2021 between UW-Madison and A.O. Smith, and we're in conversations with other members about additional systems intelligence research projects. And then finally, want to call attention to a DOE Connected Communities opportunity. We just received last week a funding opportunity announcement. We have been working with all three of our academic partners, UWM, Marquette, and Madison, as well as industrial partners, Johnson Controls, A.O. Smith, Eaton, We Energies, Argonne National Labs, to pull together a project team. We had a project kickoff call on Monday. This is a very exciting opportunity, and I think, again, a great demonstration of how we can leverage industrial and academic leadership to drive significant more research funding flowing to the state of Wisconsin to support our technology needs. We'll be working with that team over the course of the next several months to produce a concept paper, and we would anticipate a decision sometime mid-2021. So really an excellent example of how our research program can help strengthen the overall science and technology ecosystem in the state of Wisconsin. Next slide, please. And then the second area is market insights, really coming up with meaningful deliverables to catalyze energy innovation. I think the best example in 2020 was the research project that we worked with our members and the state of Wisconsin, particularly the Public Service Commission, and really identifying how do we accelerate the deployment of new technology in the utility space. That was a 9-month process, and which included significant contributions by many of our members, and came up with a specific list of 14 recommendations, which we have forwarded to the governor's task force, to the governor's clean energy office, and to the Public Service Commission for their consideration. They have been very well received across the board, and I am confident that coming out of the governor's task force and the clean energy office plan, which will come out sometime early next year, you're going to see the result of that hard work. So I want to thank all of our members who worked diligently through that process, and really, I think, gave a significant momentum to accelerating the deployment of new technology in the utility space, which is really an incredible market opportunity. Next slide, please. Now I want to pivot to talent. There's really two components to our talent. One is our Workbench Labs Accelerator. Our partnership with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation has been really strong, and we've really appreciated that partnership and the support from WEDC. We are about ready to begin our sixth cohort. You see on the screen here the 6 companies that are going to be participating in this cohort. We're excited about this. We're excited about this being the 6th cohort and the significant ecosystem that we're creating, where we have new companies coming in every year. We have companies moving into our building and for office space and to take advantage of the research facilities in our building. It really is exciting to see the cumulative impact of now having worked on this for 6 years. Next slide, please. And just to give you a sense of the impact, just during the first 5 years, over 47 businesses went through the accelerator. 2.8 million is invested in the program, combination of WEDC, MWork, and industry, our industry partners. Of those 47 businesses, $60 million in add-on funding has been invested, 283 jobs created, and 5+ businesses, as I mentioned, are now in the MWork office and lab. So really excited, and Jacqueline Davidson's leadership in this area has really been extraordinary, and appreciated that leadership over the last 5 years, and looking forward to another very exciting year with the Workbench Labs Accelerator. So as you can see, these pieces are all, in our view, critical to strengthening the science and technology ecosystem, which we think will drive economic development for the energy, power, and controls space in Wisconsin. It's been an exciting year, a lot of significant developments, and I think as we come to the end of 2020, we're excited about the opportunities to continue to expand and grow in 2021. So I'd now like to pivot back to the primary focus here for us today, and that's really to celebrate a lot of hard work by many of our partners, leadership from the city, WEDC, the Economic Development Administration has, we are excited to announce that we kicked off our first training program this Monday. And I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett, who's agreed to spend some time with us here this morning. And let me say, Mayor, really crazy times for sure. Fighting a pandemic, which is really unprecedented, and significant health impacts, the economic challenges around that, fighting for racial equality, and if we didn't know, there's an election coming up, and Milwaukee seems to be in the eye of the storm of this election. So certainly a lot on your plate today. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to spend with us and share your vision around training and economic development, community development in Milwaukee. Mayor, we've really appreciated our partnership with you in the city. It's been a strong one, and we're really pleased to be able today to talk about a program that will provide very quick impact, job training to employment in the city of Milwaukee. Happy to have you here today, Mayor Tom Barrett. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and it's great to see you as well. I want to start off by going to confession. I'm a former altar boy, so I feel it's necessary to go to confession every once in a while. And it was a little less than a year ago at this time, as I was thinking about our community, and I was thinking, I like the feel right now. I like the feel. For 4 consecutive years, we had seen a decrease in crime and violent crime in the city, and that felt great. Just seeing the crime go down, because that's an issue everywhere, but it certainly is an issue in many of the parts of the 30th Street corridor as well. I was really jazzed because as I looked at the employment figures, we had 20,000 more jobs in the city than we had coming out of the Great Recession. And so crime is down, jobs are up. Those are two things that make mayors very, very happy. In addition to that, the Bucks were roaring through the NBA with this record-breaking win differential in their games. And finally, we had been chosen for the first time in the history of the state to host a major political party convention. So I'm thinking, crime's down, jobs are up, the Bucks are roaring, we're getting this convention. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the short answer is everything. As we all know, 2020 is a year that we really want to have in the rearview mirror because of all the challenges that we face. Because starting, and maybe it was fitting that it started on Friday the 13th here in Milwaukee, was the first day that we had a COVID-19 diagnosis in the city. That was a weekend of the full moon, so strange things happen with the full moon. And I just saw an article that said that was also the beginning of daylight savings. And I mention that because next weekend is the end of daylight savings. It's Halloween, and maybe karma will start going in the other direction. At least that's my hope. You got to have hope somewhere. You're looking for hope everywhere you can. And that's one of the places I'm looking for hope is next week, and maybe things will start changing. But between the pandemic, between the economic tsunami that has followed it and continues to follow it, and I'm very concerned just looking at the numbers right now in the state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, how much work we need to do to get out of this pandemic and the ensuing damage it's caused to our economy. And then you add to that the very, very, very serious racial justice concerns that we face in our nation that came to a head nationally and locally here over the last 4 months. This is a challenging time, and then you just throw in an election, as Dan said, to boot, and you can see why I'm not bored. There's many things I am, but one of them is not bored, and that's why it's so important to have partners. And without a doubt, Milwaukee needs MWork and its members because, to me, you are the catalyst for innovation. You really, really are the ones that I think are setting the stage for the future. And so it's a pleasure to join you for your meeting. As Dan said, excuse me, the city of Milwaukee and MWork have had a long-standing partnership, and we value that partnership very, very much. My administration has supported MWork and its mission. We think it's an incredibly important mission. Eric Schamberger, our director of our Office of Environmental Collaboration, has supported MWork as a partner in our Better Buildings Challenge program to promote energy efficient technologies in our buildings. So we support you in that aspect. And we're working with you to support policies that support distributed energy in Wisconsin. And that clearly is an issue, again, that I think is going to become more and more important as we move forward. One of the things that I've learned in this job is that cities that compete and grow understand the importance of developing and making new technologies as the foundation of economic growth. There's just no question that developing and making new technologies is the key to having a vibrant growth city. And I think all you have to do is look at the book, The Magnificent Machine of Milwaukee, that MWork's own Tom Ferring documented how Milwaukee's rich contingent of engineers and industrialists designed and built machines that drove our industrial progress. We were the machine shop of the world. Obviously, we were the place where you could get things done, and I've always valued that immensely. And in many ways, a lot of that had to do with energy, because in the beginning of the last century, Milwaukee truly led in building the machines that could convert energy into work, and that drove industry here. From Alice Chalmers to Johnson Controls and Evinrude, Milwaukee was the machine shop of the world. And it's so interesting when you look at all the different things that are going on right now. We continue to be a place where innovation is very, very important. I just look at the breweries and the work that they did with water. You know, we're blessed to have this incredible water supply, but we've been good stewards of the water as well. So the challenge is there, because the energy is going to continue to be at the forefront of what we're doing and where we're going as a nation. So now in this century, I believe that Milwaukee must once again lead in energy engineering and this is important to me as mayor, a skilled workforce to build the products we develop right here. And that's part of the challenge that we have. All of this, of course, assumes that you believe in climate change. If you don't believe in climate change, well, then I don't even know what to say. That's just, I believe in climate change. But with climate change, we really do have to reimagine how we power our cars. We have to reimagine how we power our buildings, and we have to reimagine how we power our machines. And without a doubt, with the world competition, we have to make all of our industries more efficient. So we need to start moving away from the combustion of fossil fuels for power and shift to renewable electricity. It was very interesting to me, one of the things that I've learned just over the last decade or so, if you go back a few years ago, and I think the executives from Re-Energy would even agree with this, they were very much doubting Thomas's about solar energy. Just didn't see it as something that there was a workable business model that would allow that to proceed. Just now in the last 18 months, we've entered into a major project with Re-Energies on the south side of the city of Milwaukee for a solar farm, because they have come to understand that this is part of the menu as we move forward. So all of this is going to require innovations in renewable energy development, in battery storage, in digital controls, and even more efficient equipment. So again, I really want to see Milwaukee at the forefront of the global movement to manufacture energy and energy technologies. And that's again where MWork comes in, because you're the guys that can do it. You're the ones that drive this kind of innovation. And I would love nothing more than to have MWork to be a household name in not only Milwaukee, but Wisconsin and throughout the country, as a leader, if not the leader, in driving this innovation. So I want to see MWork members not only designing the products of the future, but again, not surprisingly as mayor, I want to see them making these products right here in Milwaukee's 30th Street Industrial Corridor. Just to talk about that for a minute, because one of the things that I'm more and more convinced by as we face all these issues, these very challenging issues from the pandemic to the economic fallout to the challenges with racial justice, the more we can have family supporting jobs and family supporting jobs in those neighborhoods where people need the jobs, the more we're going to be able to address many of the problems. We've seen huge disparities in the pandemic, racial disparities. We know that there are huge racial disparities in the economic fallout, and obviously the fight over racial justice is centered on those racial inequalities. And so I am committed, and I think we have to be committed to providing energy and opportunity for people who haven't historically had. And that's one of the reasons that I'm thrilled to help announce the training and development hub that we want to see move forward in the 30th Street Industrial Corridor, and clearly right there in your backyard. From my standpoint, the training and development hub can really serve as a state-of-the-art facility to develop skilled workers in electrical assembly, in testing, in high-frequency electronics, and train for electricians. And I think that will help us to address some of our employment challenges in Milwaukee, because we clearly need skilled workers who are ready to fill available jobs. One of my biggest frustrations that I will share with you is I go to a lot of different meetings around the metropolitan area, and oftentimes I go to meetings in areas outside the city of Milwaukee or that are serving Washington, Ozaukee, and Waukesha County, and I hear over and over and over again people saying we can't get the workers, we can't get the workers, we can't get the workers. And I have to be honest with you, my reaction is, well, let's put the jobs close to where the people who need the jobs live, and they'll be easier to fill. Now, I know that assumes that the workforce is skilled, and that's again why training is so important. So I think to the extent that we can train these workers and produce skilled workers who are ready to fill the available jobs, we all win. And I think MWork member companies identified electrical assembly and testing as an area where we need to provide workers with the skills they need to fill these positions. My goal is to build a thriving Milwaukee, and that means we need to create thousands of new jobs for the people who live here now. This has to be done intentionally. We need to do this intentionally in our effort to recruit people of color for training opportunities to fill your workforce needs on a long-term basis. So I want to thank companies like Eaton, BRS, Faith Technologies, and Astronautics for agreeing to hire 100 workers per year in these fields. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for concrete commitments, and I really, really appreciate that partnership. As always, I'd like to invite you and other members of MWork to maintain and locate your operations in the city of Milwaukee. And I know you've had challenges. We've worked as hard as we can. We will continue to work as hard as we can to address the needs there. But ideally in the 30th Street corridor, because we know that the more family supporting jobs we have there, the more that's going to help us address some of the other issues we face. And we have the workers. There's no question. We have the workers, and we're putting in city resources to train the workers at this training hub. And as a sustainable city, that means locating factories where the workers are. I've been a long time big fan of Alan Pearlstein and his vision for this project. And Alan, you keep trying to, I think, move on, but we don't want you to move on. We want you to be as engaged as ever. And I think that your MWork staff, Joaquin Davidson and Elizabeth Thalen, I want to thank them for the hard work in making it a reality. Dan, I want to thank you for really stepping in and helping out as well. Dan mentioned the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, WEDC, and they really have been a good partner, as has been the U.S. Economic Development Administration for its financial support for this program. This is all about partnerships, and we've felt it's necessary, and we wanted to, of course, through our CDBG program, contribute $250,000 to the Northwest Side Community Development Corporation to help move this along. So from the state to the local to the federal, you clearly have impressed people. You impress people. They know you're for real. They know that you have a vision that can be implemented, and that's what we're all looking for. We all want to get something done. So today is a day to celebrate the opening of the Training and Development Hub, but this is just the start. We need to make sure this effort is successful, and we need to build on it. My administration is working with community and industry stakeholders on climate and a climate and equity plan. I believe that the future holds more electrical infrastructure, not only in buildings and appliances, but clearly in cars and transportation. The need for skilled electrical workers will continue to grow. And that's why we've joined the U.S. Department of Energy's Workforce Accelerator. Through this initiative, we hope to build interest in energy efficiency jobs and clarify pathways to employment in this sector. So you can see we're bullish on energy efficiency. We're bullish on sustainability. We think that is a pathway to the future. And MWork's commitment to not only train workers, but also to help them find gainful employment with MWork companies is exactly the type of plan that I consider a very pragmatic, holistic plan. And it's a partnership that we need to create family supporting jobs for Milwaukee. So again, I want to thank you all for the work you've done in the past. As far as I'm concerned, we're just getting warmed up. We know we have a lot more work to do, but I think that we can address our energy needs, we can address our employment needs, we can address our community needs, the more we have this partnership. And I really do believe we've got a true partnership. So I look forward to continuing to working with you on this project, and wish you all much more success. Thanks, Dan.
You're on mute, buddy.
Take it. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I think my staff had me muted, Mayor. They were wanting to keep me quiet. Mayor, thank you very much for taking the time today for your extraordinary leadership and vision. And let me just say, we agree with you. We think this is just the start. We think the potential and the model that we're building here in partnership with MATC, UWM, Maximus, Employ Milwaukee, our companies, is really a model that is replicable, and that we look forward to working with you and all of our members in continuing this. So thank you very much. Good luck in the next couple weeks, and again, appreciate you spending some time with us here today.
Thanks, Dan. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. I'd like to now continue the program, and as the mayor indicated, Alan Perlstein, who is our current CEO, has for at least 5 years had this vision about how to take advantage of the unique characteristics of the building, being the former Eden headquarters, to not only continue to drive economic development for our companies, but also to focus on community development. And it's really his vision. I'd like to recognize here today, it's really his vision that is being realized by this training program that we started on Monday. So I'm really pleased to now introduce Alan Perlstein, CEO of MWork.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I think we've done our job. When the mayor of the city of Milwaukee stands up and say, we need to adopt next generation high frequency electronics, that's pretty impressive. To actually use the term high frequency electronics, which is the exact same thing that we're building, says MWork has actually impacted the city and trained its elected leadership. So we're grateful that, Mr. Mayor, if you're still on the line, congratulations and thank you for those kind words and your support always for being a big fan and now financial investor, both over the multiple years and most recently with a $250,000 investment in MWork. Dan laid out up front that we have 3 models. It's really targeting what the market needs through market insights, letting that market requirement drive technology development, and let that technology development guide what type of workforce we need. And as the mayor described, the best thing is to move factories where the workers are. We carry that one step forward. We said the best thing to do is to move training capabilities where the unemployed workforce is, so that workforce is right contiguous where training facilities are. You described climate change, and Dan's vision of the research we're doing and the talent we are developing go directly to climate change. People think about the declining costs of solar panels and or wind turbines as key drivers for adoption of renewable energies and the need to reduce our carbon footprint. What MWork recognizes is that the balance of plant that makes up a wind farm, or the balance of plant that makes solar panels work, the power electronics, have to come down equally in cost and have to come down in footprint absorption and carbon absorption to be successful. Our XPC sponsored research program is targeting adopting wide bandgap semiconductors to shrink the size of power electronics, to improve the efficiency, and to move Wisconsin, and Milwaukee in particular, continuing leadership position for next generation adoption of technologies that will be the engines for adoption of clean energy solutions. Jacqueline Davidson will talk right after me, and she'll describe how our XPC program developed new technologies, which now requires new skill sets. And our electrical and assembly program will allow next generation assemblers to be familiar with all the tools, processes, and systems that will make them a special workforce for tomorrow's technologies. So that vision of linking market needs, technology adoption, talent to drive economic development, and then focus community development in a disinvested neighborhood is what MWorks about. And I'm proud to see the management team of Elizabeth Thielen, Dan Ebert, and Jacqueline Davidson, and the entire staff really drive that forward. You never leave your children. And so just as children grow up and become independent, they still have parents who then hopefully become grandparents around to help. So I'll always be around to help. With that, I'd like to introduce Jacqueline, who's going to really walk you through what started a year and a half ago when we pushed hard to get an EDA grant to help facilitate our building. It allowed us to go develop our prototype space, which pulls in new technologies, allows bench testing, but then most importantly, our building allows scale up where you could actually go to full size and test that. And without investments from our owner of our building, Tom Ryan, that would never have been happening. So I want to thank Tom Ryan as well for that, along with all our other partners at WEDC, the city, the EDA, who have made this journey possible and allowed us to go forward and put this first new class of 17, 18 future employees of MWorks members. With that, I'll turn this over to Jacqueline. She'll walk you through the training and development hub. When she gives you a tour, I'll probably jump in and talk about some of the equipment, and then we'll go forward from there. Jacqueline, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it, and you're so modest, and so I'm going to embarrass you now and say that it was your vision for over 5 years, and I believe that Dan, well, certainly Dan, but I was one of the first people to drink the Kool-Aid, and I became but almost as passionate about the program as Alan has been all along. Really, really want to make a difference in our community, and we have 3 days under our belt on the program, and so far so good. All of the students in the program are extremely enthused about becoming electrical engineers. So we're very excited about that. Next slide, please. We started a year and a half ago meeting twice a week, and we formed the Training and Development Hub Huddle. Okay, so it's the Training and Development Hub Huddle, and that includes myself, Elizabeth Thielen, Michael Hansen, Owen Liebelt, Vito Gervasi, and Emily Ott. Each one of these people brings some expertise to the team, and so the team has some great individual leaders, and we have had great momentum over the months. We started this before COVID started, and yet we still continued to meet every week, continued to press forward every week. And I know that Dan and Alan and myself and the team are very proud of ourselves for making this happen in a time where it has been very difficult to make anything happen. So everybody's been doing a great job. Elizabeth has been helping me as a partner in leadership of the program. Michael's in charge of everything finance and reporting to the EDA and other people that have given us grants. It's not a fun job for Michael. And Owen is he's our coordinator. He has been very good at all the technical information and keeping the train on the tracks. Vito is our equipment expert and is in charge of our prototyping lab. And Vito has been the person that talks to everybody in equipment ease. And so then he transforms that information to us. So he's been doing a fantastic job, and also been my partner on the building, the rebuild of the second floor. And Emily, last but not least, is the glue to the organization. Not only this team, but all of MWork. If we're ever in a problem, you notice we'll all yell out Emily. So Emily keeps us on the tracks. Next slide, please. What we did is, how we started after Alan turned it over, we said to ourselves, okay, what do our members want? They're part of MWork. They are MWork. And we want to know what MWork, what our members want as far as an employee is concerned. What are their jobs, that entry-level jobs, that are family supporting jobs? How can we train to get people directly into these companies? Now, they have written down, and of course we'll keep them to that they are going to hire over 100 people each year. But we've also been really, we've offered to the individuals in the program that they will be a preferred candidate when they graduate the program at these member companies. So we went to the members, we asked them questions, we asked them what their needs were. Of course, they wanted to hire people today, and that isn't necessarily what's going to happen. They do have to go through the program first. And then our next step was to go to our workforce partners and recruitment partners. And I have to say that as old as I am, I've learned so much this year from our workforce and recruitment partners. Almost too much, but they have just been fabulous. One of our partners said to me the first time we met, well, you've obviously drank the Kool-Aid, and now I have too. So he also got really involved in the program. So we went to them, and they've helped us along the line each step, choosing people from Milwaukee and especially the Century City area to join our program, that were qualified to join our program. Qualified in that they had a high school or a GED equivalent, that they were drug-free, that they were willing to look at another career other than what they're working at now. And those were the basics, and that they could pass a high school math, which of course I don't think I could anymore. So our next thing we did is we talked to MATC, who's our education partner, and also we have IESI, Dr. George Garland, as one of our education partners. We talked to MATC and found out what classes needed to be taught for electrical assembly workers. So with what the information we took from our members, we brought to MATC, and we created a syllabus, a group of 5 classes that we're going to start out with. And as the mayor said, as Dan said, as Alan said, this is just the start, but we're having a very good start so far. After that, Alan and I took a tour of the Green Bay Technical College and what We Energies has up in Green Bay, and learned what we can do with the build out, what we can do with the building that we're going to have. And then Alan and Dan and I sort of talked to Tom Ryan, the building owner, and twisted his arm and did a lot of different things. And Tom's just been fantastic to us. So Vito and I worked on the build out with the builders, and we have and we'll do a tour of that. So you'll see that in a few minutes. Then of course, definitely along the line, it didn't really kick off until we received the EDA grant for the equipment. Now we needed to match that in many other ways. We needed to match for the equipment, and we needed to also raise funds for everything else. So we have a fundraising campaign committee that has been working on that for over a year. And Alan will talk about the fantastic people that have supported us so far. We of course got the equipment grant from the EDA. So so Vito and Michael and Elizabeth have been controlling that grant and equipment, what equipment we're purchasing, and then to move on from that. And then we did Vito and I, like I said, did the build out of the second floor. Then, of course, all the other meetings with partners, members, recruiters, everything continued to happen every week or even during this COVID. And I keep saying that because it's really important. A lot of people in different workforces have found this very challenging and hard to keep up. And our team didn't at all. We were really, really strong in that, and everybody should be proud. Let's see. After our 3 members agreed, Eaton, DRS, and Faith Technology, after they agreed to, okay, this is what we want, this is what you're doing, this is how we can create jobs for these people if they pass all the courses, which they will. They're all very determined to pass the courses. Then we'll take some steps forward. And what we're going to be doing with the class is to have a couple of meetings with the members. Probably one will be virtual, and the second one will maybe be a field trip to the members' location, so that they can see what the job site looks like, and they can meet some of the people. We want to make sure that that's going to happen. And then, so with all of the partners that we have, our members, we have our educational partners of MATC and IESI, we have our workforce partners of Employ Milwaukee and Maximus and the Northwest Side CDC. I have a funny, Alan kept saying to us, well, I think you guys should go out and put flyers on everybody's front door. And this is toward the end of the process, and we're all like, ugh. So Northwest Side CDC stepped up and said, oh, they could do that, no problem. So we're grateful that they did that. And we actually have a couple of people in the program from the flyers. So that worked out really well. Okay, now we're ready to start our virtual tour. And so Alan's going to join me again and begin the tour. Alan? Next slide, please.
I'm getting there. Okay. So hopefully what you'll see is a repurposed building. Thank you for that great description of the program, Jacqueline, and its history. And again, I want to thank all our member supporters, Employ Milwaukee, who I'm on their board, give them a check plus, along with Maximus, as conduits for helping us to attract people. Both the city, WEDC, the federal government with the EDA for funding this activity. And what you'll see is how we've started to repurpose the building. So next slide, please. So I'll talk to the equipment that you'll see. So we've taken the second floor, which is roughly 40,000 square feet, and now with Tom Ryan's investment, completely repurposed that floor. 3/4 of it will be filled as we speak, and MWork will be populating it. The northeast quadrant is still available for growth, and Tom rebuilt that section as well. Next slide, please. Here you see our member companies who participate and are part of MWork. You'll see Clean Wisconsin, Hands-On Training, the 30th Street Industrial Corridor, Manufacturing Diversity Institute, to name some of our members that are co-located on our building, where you see NGOs, training organizations, clean energy NGOs, and other supporters, all co-located on the second floor. Next slide. The second floor has tremendous technical infrastructure. One of the things about this building, it has 20 megawatts of power. Just to put it in perspective, UWM's new campus at the USR building has about 2 megawatts of power. I think they have megawatt envy. This is one of the labs that one of our early stage startup companies, Present Power, put together a lab, and today has hired, I don't know, 4 or 5 full-time employees in the building. They currently have a power-dense power converter with next-generation silicon carbide devices that will be the mainstay to an energy storage system to a major global provider of energy storage devices, like 60,000 a year. I'm not at liberty to describe who it is, but it's a large international company. This is his lab. Next slide. As you go around the building, we've taken what was research labs and kept the best of the infrastructure for lab work itself, but then also created a training and collaboration space. This is the southwest quadrant that we conduct our Workbench Labs training programs, right in front of both Elizabeth Thielen's office, as well as Jacqueline's office. Next slide. You could see brand new ceilings, brand new lighting, new floors. Jacqueline lost a bet with me about getting those floors, so I have a glass of Malbec coming in the future.
I think it's Magnum by now.
Oh, that's good. But we're very excited about having the infrastructure to deal with a steady drumbeat of 20 to 30 trainees coming through the program in 16-week increments. What they get out of the program is a knowledge base as well as access to equipment and hands-on training with equipment in our MWork prototyping lab that Vito runs. So this is Jacqueline's favorite person. It's Jack, is that his name? Fred, what's the robot's name?
Frank, see, it's on his
Frank.
hat.
That's, oh, there it is, Frank. That is Frank, our robot. He helps guide, along with Vito, the prototyping lab. Next slide, please. So here you see a long shot from our prototyping lab. It has CNC machines, welding machines, soldering stations, 3D printing capability, as well as an IT classroom that allows connectivity and the ability to communicate with our hardware. Next slide. We have standard things like drill presses that look like yesterday's technology, side by side with prototype robots like Frank. What we want is a workforce that could go build yesterday's hardware that still drives 95% of the business model of this country, as well as be prepared for automation, new controls, and new electrical infrastructure. Side-by-side skill sets on basic meat and potatoes for advanced manufacturing, as well as familiarity with new technologies. Next slide. We have automated CNC machines that are mid-century. No, they're actually brand new, but they are tomorrow's skill sets with automated controls set up and are integrated into an advanced manufacturing facility. So our graduates will be familiar with what they walk into when they walk into any of our members' factories. Next slide. Now, what makes us unique is this building has 20 megawatts of power. When you look outside this building, you will see a robust substation that Tom Ryan owns. When we were hit by lightning, the insurance company came back about a year ago and said, oh, we can go fix this for $50,000. So we said, whoa, no. You destroyed $10 million worth of infrastructure. That's a unique development and testing facility. Luckily, Tom was fully insured and was completely rebuilt. So we have a modern infrastructure campus that both UWM, Marquette, and others, along with our startup companies, have access to do scale-up testing of both today's technologies and how they'll transition with tomorrow's requirements. Next slide. Now, one of the main activities will be how you go ahead and test tomorrow's hardware for electromagnetic interference. This is Jacqueline's classroom today, but in 13 weeks, it will migrate over to another area. It's been set up so we have a COVID proper distancing, but there will be a 19 feet long by 46 feet, 19 feet wide by 46 feet long by 14 feet tall electromagnetic interference chamber, perhaps the largest in the Midwest, certainly the largest in Wisconsin, that will be in our facility. When I was a general manager at DRS, we had an EMI chamber that was about a third of that, and I could never get more than one cabinet in it at a time to test. We'll be able to test 2 or 3 cabinets at a time, and the interface among multiple pieces of equipment is something that is unique and that really allows quick identification of problems, troubleshooting, and will position our graduates to really have an understanding of some of the testing and development infrastructure that will make them that much more valuable to our members as they hire them. So this is Jacqueline's classroom. You could describe the classroom better than I, so why don't you just discuss the classroom and then we'll move on.
Thanks, Alan. So we started out with a classroom that fit, we ended up with 18 students, and we started out with a classroom that fit 18 students that we built, but they were only 4 feet apart. So we decided, well, okay, let's go into this other section, which was wide open right now, waiting for the EMI chamber. And we'll bring in tables from all over the place and put plexiglass up like we did in the other one. And so now they're 6 feet apart. So we're all COVID, and they wear masks. The students wear masks. The instructor wears masks. We wear masks. And we all stay 6 feet apart. Next slide, please. This is the classroom that we originally started out with, that we just built. And like I said, it was just a little bit too close. MATC gave us computers to use and the software to use for their instructors. Next. And this is a happy little slide of our new class. It's just wonderful to work with them. They're extremely enthused to join us in this journey. They are from our area. We talk to them about a lot of different things, how to act when you're an employee, you know, what to expect in these different companies. We have photos of some of the insides of the companies. And they're going through the math courses right now, math and blueprint reading. And then the next course will be a OSHA class, and then followed by some more hands-on power equipment. And that will be hands-on. Our first one is the math class is partially virtual, although not for the students. And then the blueprint class is an in-person instructor from MATC also. And I believe that's it for me. Oh, next I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Thielen, who's been my partner in crime here at MWork. And we probably communicate with each other 700 times a day. We have been known in the community as sisters from another mother. And Elizabeth is going to talk about our training partners, or talk with our training partners. Elizabeth?
Thank you. I just want, you know, I'm sure the mayor isn't still on, but I have to show the book on my desk is The Magnificent Machines of Milwaukee. So I think Tom and maybe the MWork will write a new book on innovation and talent. So one of the things about MWork, just to remind ourselves, we are technology innovation, market intelligence, which Nate Conroy leads, and then talent. And I think often we just think of innovation and research, but really this whole talent program and process has been extraordinarily innovative, and it takes a whole system. So we've been talking about all the partners. I'll introduce them momentarily. But what's important to know is if you think a bunch of gears going around, if you recall, and probably an assessment you took back in high school, you had to say, if gear A turns this way, which way will gear D turn? And that's actually what happened. So welcome, Irina. And so that's what happens since all summer long. We've all been working through this crazy time and actually pulled this off. So I'd like to welcome Irina and Ricardo, if you want to come on screen, Shaitania and Laura.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning. And Laura, if you're there, she may have stepped away because we're actually running ahead of schedule, so believe it or not. So when she gets here, she can join right in. But we've been, so Jacqueline, Allen, hi Laura, thank you. We're ahead of schedule.
I've been listening in on everything.
Awesome.
I just couldn't find how to put on my camera.
So welcome. This is really an industry training partnership. You know, MWork is really, the roots, like I said, are in research and innovation, but innovation has totally oozed into talent. Every employer needs more talent. And our focus really has been on expanding. What I said to Ricardo and the team is expanding choices for participants and potential employees, but also for the employers to expand their recruitment options as well. So I'm going to do a round of questions for everybody. For those of you who are listening, you can put questions in the chat, and then we probably should have time or two to take a couple of questions, and that would be fantastic. So we're going to hear from our partners. Question one is just briefly, if we'll go round robin, I'll start with Irina. Just who are you? What's your company?
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. Thank you, Elizabeth, very much for inviting me to this call this morning. I'm thrilled and delighted to join. I'm representing Eaton today, and for those of you on the phone who might or might not know about Eaton, an easy way to think about what we do at Eaton is we basically make products that relate to power. So if you think about electrical power, hydraulics power, fluid conveyance power, so anything power related is most likely is in our portfolio of products. I'm located here in Waukesha, and I've been with Eaton for 12 years. On the personal side of things, I'm married and I have 2 little kids, so they keep me very busy. But again, thank you for letting me join today, Elizabeth. Really appreciate it.
You bet. And Shaitania, the leader of Employ Milwaukee.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. So just to give you a quick high-level background of Employ Milwaukee, we're one of 11 certified federal workforce development boards here in the state of Wisconsin. Employ Milwaukee actually services Milwaukee County. On an annual basis, we oversee over 10,000 job seekers, and we work with over 2,500 employers each year. And our, key highlights about what we do is, we're here to help employers grow and prosper by providing the talent that they need. We do hiring events for employers, such as we do job fairs. We provide resources like on-the-job training. Lately, we've gotten into helping employers to build apprenticeship opportunities. That's something that Department of Workforce Development and the Department of Labor has been expanding, is really tapping in and growing apprenticeship opportunities for individuals. We help job seekers by working with them to gain the essential and occupational skills necessary so that they can enter into high quality, high demand jobs. Also, we have industry advisory boards, which is critical for us when we're looking at the training dollars that we put out here and making sure that through the information we receive from our industry advisory boards, they help us to define what the skill sets individuals need to meet the needs of those employers as industries are growing. And just on an annual basis, our budget ranges from anywhere from $16 million to $20 million, most of which are federal funds.
Thank you, Shaitania. The other thing, can you talk about just before Ricardo jumps in, is how you work with Maximus?
Oh, absolutely.
And that relationship?
Yes. So for example, Maximus, we get a lot of training dollars. I mentioned our annual budget ranges from $16 to $20 million. And as a workforce development board, our goal is that we put this money out into the community. And we have service providers such as Maximus. Maximus is a key service provider for us because they oversee our adult dislocated worker programs. And through this particular partnership, they were critical in helping with the recruitment. And so Maximus is one of our critical service providers who's worked with Employ Milwaukee for a long time. They're nationally known, and they do these services across the country.
Awesome, thank you. And Ricardo, who's been leading our team on the gear.
Well, thank you, and welcome to the members, and thank you for the kind words, Ms. Brown. So I am a senior manager with Maximus. Maximus is a multinational company. We offer workforce services, or we administer workforce services across the United States, as Ms. Brown mentioned, but we also have workforce services offerings in the UK, in Australia, in Singapore, in Sweden, and in Saudi Arabia. So we offer these types of services across the globe. Here in the Milwaukee area, Maximus has been a service provider for almost 25 years, primarily through our Wisconsin Works, which is a temporary assistance to needy family program. But currently we are administrators of various programs. So we serve a combined caseload of over 3,500 individuals and families through either Wisconsin Works, our WIOA Adult and Dislocated Worker Program, which Ms. Brown mentioned, and also our Food Share Employment and Training Program. We are primarily located out of the Comprehensive Job Center, which is the same building where MWork is located. We're very happy to share that space with them. They're on the second floor, we're on the fourth floor, so our communication is very good, in person and now virtual, of course. But we've had a great relationship with the team at MWork. As Ms. Brown and Ms. Thielen mentioned, you know, we were able to assist in taking the lead and sharing with our partners the whole recruitment strategy for this particular cohort. And we were very happy to serve in that role and kind of serve as a gatekeeper to make sure that individuals were connected to the program.
Thank you. So Irina is representing our industry, and when you think about what Jacqueline had referred to and our members, it's saying we need certain talent. So I always think of manufacturing, they're pulling what we need, and workforce is helping find everybody. And then MATC and Laura and her team have been helping on this project. They're critical and teaching. So Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I'm Laura Bray, and I'm the Vice President of College Advancement and External Communications at Milwaukee Area Technical College. And for just a very high-level overview, we serve 30,000 people a year, and we have 170 programs that really prepare students to enter directly into careers or pursue as a launch pad to a four-year degree, and in many cases, both. And actually, we have about 3,500 people a year that come back to MATC who already are bachelor's prepared, that are really looking to retool. And so in some instances, we're one of the largest graduate schools in the state as well. Our average student is 30. So when we talk about, I don't know what the average age of this particular cohort is, off the top of my head, but we really work both for those students that are coming direct from high school who might not think that college is even a possibility for them, but also for people who, what we would consider to be, you know, like underemployed, or people that really just have the opportunity to get the kind of education they need to bridge that skills gap so that they can have better access to family sustaining wages. 90% of our students attend part-time, and 53% of our students are those who identify themselves as people of color. So we're the largest student body of those of color in the entire state. And so when we look at a partnership like this, where we're really working with individuals that live in neighborhoods that are probably working below where they really want to be, or where they think they have the opportunity to get at, And there's really a partnership in order to provide the kind of laddering opportunities where they might be able to get with a little bit of training and a certificate and a job that has good pay, but then has a pathway for further advancement. And so this kind of partnership is right along the lines of what we're trying to do in the 170 programs that we operate at MACC. In my role, I serve both as the college's kind of chief fundraiser, but then also that to me also means partnership formation. So I've been really the vice president who's been working with the team to ensure that there's, when decisions need to be made, when we are looking at allocating resources to this project, that it has the high priority. And also from an external communications, I oversee our marketing and recruitment. So I'm excited for all the reasons that about this partnership. Thank you for that opportunity to introduce myself.
Yes, thank you, Laura. So I actually served on a technical college board. There are 16 in the state. And we used to have a saying, see us now or see us later, to your point about students who come back, because the technical college is so focused on what the industry needs. They also have industry advisory boards. So I'll give you a plug, Shaitania and Laura, that they all need industry folks being on their advisory board to have a voice in the actual programs and recruitment that happens. So again, another round robin question, kind of what is your role in this program? How did it come about? And maybe, because it is challenging during this time to do this kind of work. So what made it easy? And Irina, we're just going to go right back to you again.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Elizabeth. So, as we think about how our industry is doing, right, and I'll talk about electrical industry at Eaton. So, just to give you an idea, Eaton employs 100,000 people across the globe. And here in Wisconsin, we have 8 individual locations. So some of these are manufacturing plants, some of these are office locations. And we've got over 1,500 employees here just in the Milwaukee area. So, the business we're in this part of Eaton is serving utilities. So think about utilities are, that body that provides energy, right, to all of us to be able to have this call today, right? Energy, electricity, so all of that equipment behind the scenes that keeps everything running, right? The lights on and the heat and, the air and everything else. So very essential during these challenging times with COVID. So what it means to us as a kind of a human resources function is that we are seeing this boost of increased demand in the market. And as a result, we do have a nice problem to have nowadays, right? And that means a lot of hiring on our end. So just in the location where I'm at today, which is in Waukesha, Badger Drive, we are at any point in time have 20, 30 openings right on the production floor. So it's been a trend and a theme, and we're always on the lookout for great talent. So where we come into place here is just a great opportunity to network with folks like you guys, where we can partner on how can we strategize on best ways to find talent, right, for our organization. So, I'm new to, I probably shouldn't say new anymore, but I've lived in Milwaukee for a year now because I moved for this job. So I am just absolutely thrilled to see how mature these partnerships are. I've lived in different parts of the US with Eaton, and I could say with confidence, it doesn't always exist, that level of partnership and maturity on where we look at strategically, how can we bring talent in the organization? So that's where we come in and play. We are very connected, Elizabeth, to things that you guys are starting to deploy, right, with the new cohort for the electrical certification training. We're very intrigued and interested about it, and certainly would be keeping an eye open on, the progress and the success of that program, because that's definitely something we would love to tap into and to continue to build that partnership.
Thank you, Irina. So a little secret to everybody. Irene has already emailed me and said, could I have the resumes? So we do have what we call career sessions. Jacqueline referred to it throughout the program. So hopefully we'll get that scheduled, if not next week, the week after. But getting people prepared, and we may even employ them before the program, but not necessarily in electrical assembly. And the other thing I appreciate that you commented on, because sometimes, so now I'm putting my regional hat on, we are critical of ourselves in the region, but we actually have really strong partnerships and we know people. I mean, I've known Laura, I don't know, at least 10 years from different roles and longer. I don't like to admit that. So, you know, we all work together.
Neither do I.
Yeah, and it really, really helps when you have to come together for a project. And so I really appreciate, Irina, that comment from the outside coming in, how strong we really are, even when there's bumps in the road. Our region really has strong partnerships and can work together. So for those listening, as you're listening to this, think about what role you would like to play in some of our programs that are coming up. So I had an order. What was my, Shaitania.
Yes, me.
Yes, so your role, what's made it easy? What would you like to see more of?
So for Employ Milwaukee, you know, actually this relationship here is a great example of what the workforce system looks like. You have the workforce board, you have your employer, most importantly, you have your tech college, you have your service providers. And oftentimes people ask that question about, well, what does the workforce system look like? This is a prime example when things and partnerships are brought together the right way. You have everybody at the table and we're moving in that direction. And for us, this has been a relationship we've been cultivating with Alan. Alan sits on our board, as he mentioned, and it's been over 10 years, I know, where he's talked about, and many times during meetings, times that we've had one-on-ones, we're located down the street on 27th and North Avenue. So we're not even far from where the building is located. And just talking about how do we expose individuals. Alan, I remember one time him telling me, wouldn't it be nice if we can have people who live, you know, because where the building is located, it's in an urban area, it's in the inner city. If we can have people in this area being able to take advantage of family sustaining wages, getting into an industry that is unheard of by many, the energy, power, and controls, for a lot of the folks that come into our building to receive services, they don't know anything about that. And being able, and we know from our young people up, exposure is key to really open their eyes to the career opportunities that are out there for them. So this was an easy partnership for us to jump on board and become a part of, because that's how industry partnerships are supposed to work. We're supposed to work with industry to know what the skill sets and what the needs are, so that as we are spending training resources, that money is going to train people where there are actual job opportunities. The goal is to get away from the train and pray notion and to really have those jobs there for individuals. And the reason we're at this table is because we want to help to train individuals to produce that skilled workforce, as the mayor mentioned, for the employers that are out there. And so MATC has been a really, really good partner of ours. We've done everything from IT to healthcare, and it just continues to grow. And this right here is an innovative partnership that I am so happy Employ Milwaukee is sitting at the table, and that we are providing training resources to help prepare people, in particular, people of color, that are into options that are out there for them, and to meet that demand and needs of the employers.
Thank you. Yeah, and your team, by the way, is awesome. And I've known Tony White, who's on your team for a long time. So just kind of going back to those longtime partnerships and how easy it is to work together. Now, Ricardo, I just met, so about it's been about 8 months.
strategy. But work closely with MWork to identify, what are those basic skill sets and basic requirements that are going to be needed for individuals to come into this training and successfully complete it, and to be part of a growing workforce in this sector. So we went and first of all, we delved into our existing case. So I mentioned this, and most of it, about 90% of it, is from the inner city. Through our food share employment training program, we do service individuals that live in other parts of the city, but primarily we are focused on serving individuals within the inner city. So we looked to that source to recruit from first. We were able to get some individuals that were interested, but then we expanded. We worked with Employ Milwaukee and our partners at the Department of Workforce Development to expand our reach so that we could really offer this career growth opportunity to as many people as possible. So out of those recruitment efforts, we were able to get 81 individuals that were interested in this training and interested in the power and controls, electrical power and controls sector. So we had a number of sessions with the team from NWork to bring those individuals in, to expose them to the details of the training and more information about the sector. From there, it's critical that we had individuals attached to a funding source. As we know, these trainings cost money, but we didn't want to pass that cost on to program participants. So because we are able to administer so many programs, we were able to attach them to one of our programs so that the training funds could be available. And just as importantly, if not more importantly, is that they could be attached to support through case managers, support through other community resources, to make sure that we've set them up and had the support necessary for the optimal degree of success. So that was very important for us. Through that process, we were able to get down to the 18 individuals that started the cohort, and that's a great thing and a great place to be. But one of the important things that we want to make sure that we didn't miss were that those additional individuals, those 60+ individuals that didn't go into this particular training, continue to be attached to the workforce system. As Ms. Brown mentions, the workforce system is there no matter what sector that you're interested in or opportunities that you're looking for. The system is designed to support individuals along their career pathway. So we wanted to make sure that those individuals that didn't continue on with this training program or along this sector route were able to still maintain attachment to that workforce system to get connected to whatever their career growth opportunity or whatever career pathway they choose to take.
Thank you, Ricardo. Yeah, and so again, behind every one of these folks is this team of people. You're just seeing the front face. And the other thing in our program that we haven't referred to, but the fact that they're stackable, we're getting credits. So the student is getting credit that applies to the technical college, particularly at METC, and they can, if they so choose, move on in a stackable credential way. So to that, Laura, the same question to you: what makes it easy? What's your role? And if you could just take a couple minutes, and then I'm going to ask one more question.
So, we were, so a couple of things in terms of what is our role in the partnership. And on the onset, it was really helping to do curriculum development. So this particular program is coming through an area that we call workforce solutions. And so it's our customized training where we look at the courses we offer and then get the input from businesses that want to reach a particular end. So we loved that and work to get the business feedback and then really design a solution that that's one that for this case, it was, we want to get them enough exposure and training so that they can work upon completion of this, but also those stackable credentials, which was super critical. The next, and I'll talk through that in a second. The next thing, we actually made an equipment investment. So at this particular site, we are essentially lending equipment to be there at the location. So we used our budget, our facilities budget and our equipment budget in order to make that investment, and are proud to do so. And then we really did help, when we're looking at our college and bringing 30,000 students through COVID and still providing really important education. We've developed pretty comprehensive protocols for COVID instruction. About 60% of our instruction throughout our entire college is done online or virtual, and the remaining is items like this, where you can't do certain instruction remotely, and it's really important for us to have the flexibility to be able to give that in-person instruction in areas where either through the credentialing of that particular thing, like you would not be able to become a nurse if you didn't have that kind of hands-on instruction, or in these situations where you really have to manipulate equipment and be in person. And so working that through was something we really worked through together. As it pertains to what made it easy, and then I think what I'll do, Elizabeth, is talk about the credits in the last question, is we have 170 programs, and we have a small and mighty marketing budget and outreach budget that we have to really think about how we do attraction throughout all 170 programs. When we have a community partner like this that has organized the business community and is really looking at how do we do outreach to communities to recast what the opportunities of these particular careers are, it helps us tremendously. And so I would say that's probably the most important of what made it easy, is that oftentimes when we're trying to do this very targeted work in a particular field, in a particular program, we can only go so far on our own with that outreach and really helping to recast what people might not even realize are emerging careers or fields that they never even considered. And I just think the partners that have come together have really leveraged our expertise, our networks in a way that really is getting the word out about exciting career opportunities.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, so I'm changing it up on you guys a little bit from a time. We did get extra time, but now we're gonna, the third question, I actually wanna kind of do a finish the sentence question. So the impact we are looking for from your organization, the impact we are looking for is, and then if you could finish that. Irina?
I would say, Elizabeth, talented and trained individuals who can come join our workforce and be someone we could rely on, and also help us, grow our business. I think that's ultimately probably the outcome. We have seen over the course of many years with Eaton that these partnerships truly help us grow our business. And the efforts that you all are putting together on putting the curriculum together, right, getting industry input and really making it meaningful, I think that's what makes a whole difference. And the business needs grow and develop and change. So I think staying always connected on what's that new thing, right, that we're focused on, and what's that need that's coming up based on, the products are changing. The products are more connected nowadays, right? It's not as same kind of physical, what we used to call a dumb product, right? It is now more connected to the cloud. It is much more sophisticated from cybersecurity standpoint. So how do we continuously help our workforce develop and grow and stay very much up to speed to these new technologies that are out there that we're pursuing as an organization. So I think in very kind of high level, this would be probably something that we were looking forward to. And like I said, over the course of the years, we've seen a lot of these come to fruition. So really excited about it. And I think, given kind of our continuous need for talent in the organization with unemployment rates that we're seeing right now, it's a little bit of a spike, right? It kind of goes up and goes down, and it's a little bit unsure at this point. But I will say, even through the COVID times, when we were thinking that we would have a bigger afflux of people interested in a job, we still struggle with quality people. We might get a ton of applicants, but not all of them are qualified, right? Because we are looking for a very specific technical kind of skill set that we're interested in. So I think that's where the partnership comes in place to really build that.
We hope to expand. I'm just going to interrupt to give the other guys a chance, women and people. But I just want to say Eaton's been an awesome partner on many levels for MWork as well. So on the research end and now on the talent and innovative ways to find talent. Shaitanya, finish the sentence. What the outcomes we're looking for?
Right. So, to not take up too much time, but ideally, would be for job seekers to get a fair chance at a quality job, to obtain the skills necessary to be successful at that job, to have opportunities to grow and advance along a career pathway. I mean, that's what people come to us for. That's what we're here to do. And then from the business side, for the businesses to grow and prosper because they have the talent that they need to fill the jobs that they're looking for. And finally, our goal will be to expand industry partnerships by doing more of these projects, bringing them to scale, and just having that success that we can have within the region, because this now spills outside of Milwaukee and it can be part of the Southeast Wisconsin regional planning that we do.
Right. Thank you. Ricardo, same question.
Okay, just to be brief here. So in all of our programs, we have two primary constituencies that we serve, businesses and job seekers. So on the business side, of course, we want to be able to provide skilled talent that can fill their needs. When I look at the job seeker side, I only need to look at the cohort that we help build and diversity that comprises that cohort. When we look at where we're recruited from and the interest that was brought out from individuals from different walks of life that hadn't really thought about, or that we as service providers or even industry may have thought about, I should be recruiting from that pool of talent. Now that pool of talent is out there. So I want to see us continue to be able to offer these types of opportunities to a population that's been underrepresented, underserved, and hasn't been able to take advantage of these career growth pathways. There are a lot of individuals that we serve that are interested, and we can help develop that talent. So I want businesses to be able to look to us to be able to help them in meeting their needs.
Awesome. Thank you. And Laura, the impact, the outcome you're looking for.
So I would say like short and long-term impacts, I always try to think about scaling. So short-term, we have put together classes that are 8 credits. And for those that successfully complete these credits and earn a C or better, they will convert into college credits. So I really do think in order for success, that means continuing to support the students every step of the way, because oftentimes it's those incremental improvements or those incremental moves within these 5 classes that really can lead to that. And that puts them in position to be as a potential to get hired by one of these participating companies, but it also puts them on the course to a diploma in this area, which is a total of 22 credits. So I would love that the opportunity for success is that not only is it supporting to get that first job, but that also, or the first job in the field, but then also an understanding that, advancement comes with additional training, and it could really mean even moving up to, frontline managers or others in the company, so that we're really truly putting a pathway to both their leadership, but also for a better life for them and their families. And then for long-term, I think this is our first cohort. This is the pilot, but this isn't, the intention is that this is something that becomes the way that we work for this field and for this particular job line. And so I think that as a partnership, we got in crazy circumstances in the middle of a global pandemic to be able to do in-person instruction safely and with an eye to success for the individuals that are going through the program, but also with an eye to filling important positions in our community. But it can't just stop at this year. So
yeah, agree. So thank you. We all pulled it off. So thank you for all your leadership, all your participation. And before we move to the next slide, I told Shaitanya I'd give her the last word on industry partnerships.
So as everyone can see from today's panel discussion, industry partnerships can be highly successful when you have employers, job seekers, and other stakeholders at the table. It's been in my experience that industry partners help to meet the industry demand for skilled workers while simultaneously broadening the pipeline of workers who have access to the occupational skill training and work-based training necessary, and therefore equates to good jobs. This is more important than ever today because I cannot stress enough that every person, every worker deserves a fair shot, as I mentioned earlier, at achieving economic stability and success for their families, for this community. That's how we grow as a nation. So let's continue to work together to strengthen these types of partnerships that are on the forefront of promoting equity and the economy. And how do we do that? We do that by spreading the word. Please tell your networks about the benefits of industry partnerships and how they can get involved. We have a workforce system that works. It works when we have employers leading the way. Broaden your hiring pool by taking a fresh look at candidates that, as Ricardo mentioned, you wouldn't have traditionally looked at, but asking yourself, if we want to expand diversity, then we have to look at things differently. And give yourself credit, because for the group that came together today, for the employers who's engaged in this partnerships, you've already taken those first steps to make this thing happen. And we are so appreciative of you for doing that. And thank you, Alan, again for your vision, because without you, we probably wouldn't be here today.
Awesome. Thank you all. Look forward to the next weekly meeting behind the scenes. So if you go to the next slide, and Jacqueline, if you want to come up, or maybe it was Alan, so whoever. Yeah, so getting involved, I think what you heard here also, just for the folks on the phone, I see you're coming and going and maybe going to a meeting or checking your email, but to get involved, and I think what's key is having a voice, and particularly industry, having a voice at the table. I've always said this, is that you might sit back and maybe complain about the talent or lack of finding it. But the way to do that is to be part of our group, and then we will collaborate with you and get those things together. We'll probably have another industry kind of focus group coming up, or a design session in the first quarter. You get to help drive curriculum. It doesn't have to be just for electrical assembly. Obviously, you can see that UMWorks working on many technologies. And with all those new technologies, we need talent. So that's the part where you get to step forward. I know some of you had some questions in the chat. We'll follow up with you after. And Alan's going to take us into what's next in our future. So thank you, Alan.
Okay, next slide, please. So first, I want to thank the entire MWork team for putting this together. I want to particularly thank the panel and the partners who are enabling the training program, the recruitment of the talent that will go through that, and then ultimately our members who will be hiring folks who are graduating from the program, hopefully, and that's Eaton, Leonardo of DRS, and Faith Technology. So thank you all. To other members who are on the call in today, this is not an exclusive program. We're able to go ahead and have more sponsorship and more folks looking to go ahead and highlight needs and requirements. So we look for your inputs in the future. As we think about what Dan laid out at the beginning, in each of our areas, there's an exciting road ahead. When we think of technology and innovation, you know, the mayor outlined climate change as a driver engine, and the quiet balance of plant requirements, the equipment that makes things work, or where MWorks members drive differentiation and new adoption of technologies. And we look forward to that continued research, both that which we are paying for in those programs that were outlined today over the next 3 years. It's over $1.5 million more than likely outlined. We look forward to leverage grant opportunities with the Department of Defense, who needs that technologies for their ships and other applications. with the DOE is looking for connected grid technologies. And then we look to scale those technology applications where our members will have access to scale up infrastructure, both in the building and hopefully on 8 acres contiguous a block away on Hope and 27th Street, where we'll have both scale up opportunities for advanced solar, energy storage, wind technologies, as well as ongoing training programs for solar installers, maintenance, wind turbine technology, energy storage, potentially line worker activities. All that can go make a difference and provide family sustaining jobs that drive economic development, and we're plunked in an area that needs community development. So we're excited about these next steps ahead. We look forward to you coming to our next member meeting in January. There'll be a memo out or an email out from Jacqueline and Elizabeth on that. Actually, Emily, you probably do it, so thank you, Em. But we look forward to continuing. For those of you who've been on board, there's been between 40 and 60 of you on the entire time. That's very impressive. Thank you. Again, my thanks to the panelists, my thanks to Jacqueline and Elizabeth and Emily who put this together and the entire team they outlined. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thanks all. Have a great day. With that, unless there's another slide, I call the meeting as adjourned. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Did we want to take questions? I apologize. We have 17 minutes. I didn't think about that. Hey, Jacqueline, are you there still?
I'm still here, but I did ask to put some things in the chat. And there's 21 people left.
Is there, I can't see the chat. Is there anything there? Questions. Here we go. There are no questions. I don't see any questions. Everyone in the questions areas. As you can see, this is one of those things that has a learning curve. So for those of you who had questions but didn't get to put them down, please reach out to us. We're happy to go answer. For those of you on the call still, if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask a question, we'll take a minute. Otherwise, we truly are done. I'm thinking done. Thanks all. Have a great day. Be safe. Be healthy. We look forward to seeing you at the next MWork event.